Just because you can't do it, just because it's not something that you've been able to pull off per se, doesn't mean that it can't be done. And said person's reason for it not working is because he has yet to see it on CCTV footage. That's kind of like saying, nah, bro, she's perfect wife material because I've never seen her strip. You have to put the time in. Of course, you're not going to be able to do it if you're so close-minded that you're not even going to try to train it yourself because, oh man, that's impossible. No, what that is lazy. What that is you not wanting to put in the work, so therefore you can't do it, so therefore nobody can do it. That's just ignorance. I was watching a video the other day, and there was a guy who is pretty popular, has a good following on social media, and he was talking about how systems that incorporate simultaneous defense and attack, they don't work. The simultaneous defense and attack does not work. And it kind of reminded me of something that my Tuhan said a couple years ago, and that is, people operate from a weird deficit of knowledge. So if you think about it, there are so many systems out there that incorporate simultaneous defense and attack. You have Wing Chun, you have Jeet Kune Do, you have karate, you have Krav Maga, and those are just some of the main ones that I've trained in that I know for a fact incorporate this. Now, with there being so many different systems, and not just that, but you have new systems and old systems alike incorporating some of the same stuff, it's got to make you wonder, does this work? And said person's reason for it not working is because he has yet to see it on CCTV footage. That's kind of like saying, nah, bro, she's perfect wife material because I've never seen her strip. Again, doesn't quite make sense. Now, here's the thing. Our bodies only move so many different ways. When it comes to fighting, when it comes to protecting ourselves, the most important thing is to not give the attacker any time to sit there and attack us. And the best way to do this, especially if you're caught off guard, is to attack them back at the same time. Just because you can't do it, just because it's not something that you've been able to pull off per se, doesn't mean that it can't be done. So there's two main ways that somebody's going to punch me. A, it's either going to be on a straight line where the hand is coming straight out, and from here, all I'm going to do is like a redirection while I'm striking at the same time. Now, granted, you have things like reach and all that kind of stuff, and the only way that that changes is if I go lower because, right, I don't have the reach to get to the face. So I'm just going to go lower, and then I finish up. The other type of punch is going to be your big, looped, rounded punch. And when that comes in, all I'm going to do is I'm going to put something up at the same time I'm going to fire a shot of my own. Now, it doesn't have to be one of those punches that are crazy and it's going to knock this person out. But what it does is it changes the energy of the fight back into my favor. Now, here's the thing, and I'm going to go back to the same point that I made, is that just because you haven't seen it on CCTV doesn't mean that it's not a viable form of defending yourself. And just because you lack the skill, the knowledge, the understanding, and the training to be able to pull it off yourself doesn't mean that other people can't do it. Because here's the thing that everybody tends to forget. Anything that you're going to use to be able to defend yourself, you have to train it. You have to put in the time. You have to sit there and do rep after rep after rep after rep. Even when you're doing your system and you actually have drills inside of that system that have that same simultaneous defend and counterattack, you have to put the time in. Of course, you're not going to be able to do it if you're so close-minded that you're not even going to try to train it yourself because, oh man, that's impossible. No, what that is lazy. What that is you not wanting to put in the work, so therefore you can't do it, so therefore nobody can do it. That's just ignorance. But here's the thing. I know this works because I've actually done it. I've actually had to use it, and it worked in my favor. There was a point in time where I was training Krav, and I was doing an instructor conference. And an instructor conference was like 9 days of 10 to 12-hour days of doing nothing but training all day. For those of you that don't know, when you're training like that continuously for that amount of days, you tend to get a little wired. We were at a bar, and we were kind of drinking and hanging out and having fun. Well, there was somebody who decided that they were going to come up and they were going to start a fight, which is fine. And this guy decides that he's going to throw this big, wide, looping punch at me. And I do the appropriate defense, which is a 360 and a simultaneous counterattack. Now, when we train this and we go into follow-up mode, basically, which is I do my defense, I do my counterattack, and then I fire off more counterattacks to finish the fight, just in case there is, in fact, a fight. This worked so well that there was no longer a fight. The guy was on the ground, it was done, it was over. And I didn't get to follow up, and I was actually kind of upset about that. But the moral of the story is that going back to the original point, when you're learning something new, when you're doing something new, the only way to make it a part of yourself to the point where you can actually pull it off is to train it. Now, I've been training this particular thing for the last couple of days, rep after rep after rep after rep. So as soon as this attack came in, I didn't even have to think about it. It was 100% automatic. It was boom! And it was over. I have a few pet peeves in the martial arts, and my biggest one is where somebody will take a look at something and say, that's impossible. Nobody can do that. That's impossible. Shouldn't even try it. Shouldn't even train it. Now here's the thing. Just because it's impossible for you, or just because you can't pull it off, or just because you lack the skill, does not mean that it's impossible. Why lie? Tell the truth. It's impossible for you. Just because it's impossible for you doesn't mean that other people can't do it.